Welcome back, everybody. This is Pastor Ian Wolf, Pastor's Flashlight. I've got another semi-unboxing video for you today. It's semi in that I've already opened the box and I've already used what's inside of it, so it's not really all that great. But I did want to show you that you can find ink samples from various retailers. I ordered this box, as you can tell, from the Vanness Pen Company at Little Rock, Arkansas. Please check them out. They are the purveyors of fountain pens and inks and roller balls and ballpoints and all sorts of stationery goodies, along with they sell some other things as well. So when you get a new fountain pen, like I did, as you've already seen in my previous video, the first question on everybody's minds who's in the kind of hobby is, what are you going to put in it? What kind of ink are you going to use with it? And so a good way to check out what inks are available is by getting little ink samples. And I want to show you those right now because I did order 12 unique ink samples from the good folks at Vanness Pens. So we'll put the knife away, and it comes packaged in this little box, and there was paper inside of it to protect the ink samples, and throw the box away, don't need that. And here they are, nicely packed in these little vials, these little sample vials. So Vanness Pen Shop right there, Vanness1938.com. And this is a Robert Oster ink, one of his shake and shimmy inks. They have different colored particles in it that give a shimmer to your ink. So I have 12 samples that I purchased from them. We'll just dump all these out. They're all Robert Oster inks, and Robert Oster is a Australian ink maker who really came on the scene a couple years ago in the pen world with some amazing colors and vibrant inks, ones with shade and shimmer. Probably his most famous, and I have a bottle of it, is Robert Oster's Fire and Ice, which is this wonderful blue color with red sheen. It's quite gorgeous. He's creeping in. I don't know, we need to come up with a role for you. So Paige, our daughter, is the director. Jordan, the youngest, is the assistant director. What are you going to be, Justin?
He's that one weird kid.
No. He's the director of photography. The assistant director? I don't know. We got to find a role for him. Anyway, so these are the inks. I'm going to swab them for you. I've already done that on these swab cards. So you can...
Me?
No, you're the assistant director. He's
You just called him the assistant director.
I called him the assistant director.
So he assistant.
So yeah, he's your assistant. You got a promotion. Justin says no. All right, so one way to do this is to take a ink syringe, which I don't have with me right now, but you put a dollop of ink on the card and then swish it around. I used a cheese knife just because of the dullness of the blade. It was easy to push the ink around, and you come up with these little swatches. And I got all of these swatch cards from Mr. Robert Oster himself, who sent them to me in a wonderful little care package, and I cannot thank him enough for that. I've got other ones. So he's become a good friend, even though I have never met him and just know him through online connections and forums, Facebook and Instagram and email and the like. So as you will see, I want to support Mr. Oster as much as I can. And so I bought a whole bunch of different ink samples from him to see what would be a good fit for this pen. Two of these are ones that I know already that I'm going to use, although interestingly enough, neither one of them is what's in my pen currently. though it is a Robert Oster ink. I did know I wanted a kind of orangey red, molten lava type of ink, and so I got a sample of orange zest, which I just recently bought a bottle of. This will be kind of the go-to ink for this pen. The other one was maybe I was looking for something charcoaly gray that kind of had that burnt look to it, of ash. Kind of fits a volcanic pen, right? To have some ash-colored ink. And so I also got a sample of Robert Oster graphite, which is not necessarily, I would call it an ashy gray, because it does have a interestingly green undertone. And I thought what I would do is just grab my Q-tips here and sample these all for you today, just so you could just take a look at the breadth and range of fountain pen ink that is out there. So let me just set these off to the side, and we'll do these one at a time. All right, so like I said, these are all going to be Robert Oster inks. My handwriting is terrible. I apologize for that. My wrist has, carpal tunnel has flared up, as you can see from this lovely brace, and so it's not working all that great. So we'll just put a nice big long patch so where it gets thin. All right, and our second one will be, let's just grab another Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. I'm just using Q-tips and letting the ink kind of collect and absorb into the Q-tip for a few seconds, just because that way you can get a nice collection of ink on your swab. And we just drag it across and let it get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. All right. Here's that graphite that I was telling you about, and look carefully. When it starts to dry, you may notice it turn a little bit green, and I was not expecting that from this ink, but it's really pretty. Okay. Get a nice little swatch, and all right, grab another one here. Let's do green lime. This was a really pretty green, and it's one that's really kind of pretty, a very bright, vibrant, kind of grassy green. I forgot to write the name. All right, I will go ahead and swab this first and then write the name. How about that? There we are with green lime. Very vibrant and bright. Another one, oh, here's that orange zest that I was talking about, this reddy orange. That will be probably my go-to ink for this pen. My new Homo sapiens, which I still love. It's fantastic in every possible way. All right, here we are with orange zest, excuse me. Oh, it's a great day in the Wolfpack house. Kids are just getting along swimmingly and just love one another all the time. Here's another red that I haven't tried yet, but I am going to try it in this pen pretty soon, and that is Robert Oster Fire Engine Red. This should be a nice, big, vibrant, bright red. All right. Let's do... All right, the next... Oh, one last plain ink, I should say, in that it doesn't have particles in it. I do have four Robert Oster inks that do have particulate matter in it, and you'll see that when I lay the ink down across the page. This is Robert Oster Emerald, which also has become a really favorite color of mine, and I wouldn't be surprised if I had to buy a bottle of this as well eventually. It's just kind of the perfect little emerald green. As any of you know, writing in a brace is not the easiest, so I apologize for my sloppy handwriting there. All right, these next four inks are what our Robert Oster calls his shake and shimmy inks. I think all four of them are. So I don't know. Let's see here. There you go. You can see this, hopefully see this gold colored particulate here. And this is why he calls them a shake and shimmy ink, because the particles are a shimmer, but to get it mixed up into the ink, you have to give it a little shake, because the particles are heavier and then they fall out of suspension in the ink, and so you just need to give it a little shake, and that will stir up the particulate matter into the ink. And then you grab your little ink swab and let it absorb some of this. And this, I'm not a big shimmer guy, I'm not a big sparkle guy, but this red gold ink is quickly becoming one of my favorites. It reminds me of sort of like House Lannister, if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Hopefully you can see some of that particulate matter. Let's see if I can really get some on my swab there. Now when that dries, you should be able to see some sparkle and some shimmer. All right, so that is red gold, Robert Oster red gold. Another one of his shake and shimmy inks is Blue Moon, so I'll just give it a little shake. And we'll use our Q-tip, give a little stir as well. Make sure we're absorbing some of that gold particulate. Or I'm not sure what color particulate this is, but blue. And we'll just lay down this nice little line. Let that dry. Green Envy, another little shake and shimmy ink. So there you can really see the particulate, maybe, hopefully, at least I can see that particulate matter in the green ink fall out of suspension. So I'll give that one an extra shake. And stir up the ink as well with the Q-tip. Do this on camera so you can see what I'm actually doing. And, oh, I forgot to write Blue Moon. I will do both of these. Here is that green. This is Envy Green. It's a very pretty green ink. So I've got 2 to write down now. Okay. Blue moon, blue moon, dip 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 dip, blue moon, blue moon. Sorry for the singing. I always think of that song when I see the name of the scene. All right, green. All right. This is Robert Oster Shake and Shimmy Aussie Liquid Gold. I did order his other gold particulate infested ink. I don't know what you call it. And I actually like the other one better, but I'll show you that in another video when I do that video. All right, so we'll just give it another stir up here. Get that gold particulate in suspension. And Aussie liquid, I can't spell, gold. In my ink sample collection, I got one ink that was not a Robert Oster, and we'll just put that, not an R-O ink. And this is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. But this is an Akkerman ink, and they are made in the Netherlands. This is Rembrandt's Carmogen. It's a crimson ink, which is really pretty, and I'm just going to put Akkerman. Oh, I can't spell that either. Rembrandt. And I'm just going to write crimson. You can look it up and find the official name. It's actually quite a lengthy name. But it's in their Dutch Masters series of inks, and those Dutch Master inks are based off of certain painters and the ink color palettes that they used. That's the Dutch Masters, right? So I've always wanted to, well, not always, I should say. I wanted to try this one recently, since I've seen it used by other people on Instagram and YouTube, and so I thought I'd get a sample for myself. I will say Akkerman does have the coolest bottles, and I'll show you those some other time. I do have one Akkerman ink bottle. They are the coolest ink bottles. All right, so that's a nice little crimson. I don't know if you can see as these have dried, and maybe if I try to move the page a little bit, the red gold, blue moon, green envy, and Aussie liquid gold, if you can see that kind of shimmer in them. It's kind of hard to do without maybe the right light on them, and I don't want to spill my ink here. One reason you want to do swatches like this or swabs is you can kind of see what the ink is going to look like in its various properties. So we know these have particulate matter in them. They've got gold and blue sparkle and green and yellow. But like the orange zest, see, we laid it, it was a very heavy patch of ink here, so it's more red. But as it gets lighter, it turns to a paler orange. And that process is called shading. So inks will go from a light color to a dark color and back as you write with them. I would say orange zest is probably the one here that shades the best, although green lime does a little bit. It can get really light, and then a brighter green. So yeah, I don't know if you can kind of see where this graphite is still wet. It hasn't dried yet, and we've done quite a few since then. So that's going to tell me that ink is a very wet ink. It's going to have longer dry times. We could have had just a heavier pool there as well, but maybe you can see here where it's started to dry. It turns just this little pale green gray, which is really cool because it goes, when you write with it, goes down gray, sort of an ashen gray, but when it dries, it lightens up to this pale green here. I don't see a little bit of sheen, red sheen, developing along the blue denim and soda pop blue where we laid down a heavy patch. I don't know if you're able to see that, but there's this really bright red, oops, now I've got ink on my finger, bright red ring around the soda pop blue. I don't know if I move the page. This blue denim has a similar sheening effect. So yeah, I think that's everything for today. I just wanted to show you my ink samples. A big shout out to Vanness Pens at vanness1938.com. I like their ink samples the best out of all of the purveyors of inks that are out there. They are a little bit more expensive. They're about anywhere from $2.50 to $3, depending upon the ink and what kind of properties it has. If it's a more expensive ink, it's going to be a little bit more for a sample, naturally. But what you do get is the most amount of ink in an ink sample. So I think Goulet pens, you get 2 milliliters of ink. Anderson pens, you get 3 milliliters of ink. But with Vanness, you get 4 milliliters of ink. You pay a little bit more, but you get a little bit more. And I actually like that. I'd rather pay a little bit more, get more ink in a sample, and then be able to run it through a couple of different pens, as well as do more things like this. Now you can really see that red gold pop in that green. I do have it on these swatch cards as well that will hopefully really show. There's blue denim, I believe. I think that's blue denim. That's soda pop blue. Here's that emerald ink. It's really pretty. Here's the Akkerman crimson ink, the Rembrandt's crimson. Here is green lime. Oh no, excuse me, envy green that has the shimmer in it. Let's see that. This is the blue moon that has that blue shimmer in it. It's kind of hard to see there. Here's the Aussie yellow gold. There, catch the light. Hopefully you can see that. And this swatch is why you can see red gold is probably my favorite out of all of them, is that gold just pops against that field of red. It's very pretty, very regal, very, I don't know, just, it works. That's the Fire Engine Red. Here is the Orange Zest. And it's really thick here on the swatch, so it does look just red, but if you can see where I carried off into the lettering here a little bit, it is orange. Graphite. This looks black. It's pretty heavy patch of ink here, so you don't see the shading that it can be. And this is, what is this? Soda pop blue. All right. So thank you all for joining me to look at these inks. I hope this was at least interesting, if not amusing. It's one of the fun things about the fountain pen hobby is you get to play with a variety of colors that you do not get in a blue, black, red, yellow, or green G2 or a Bic pen. You get a multitude of colors, a rainbow of colors, which is part of the fun. You're never limited. There's literally probably thousands of ink on the market. All right. Thank you again, Pastor's flashlight pen video. If you happen to like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would ask you to consider it. I do appreciate it. We're almost at 100 subscribers. I'd like to hit that number pretty soon, that hallmark for me and for my channel. And thank you again for watching. God bless. Have a great day. Bye. 1, 2, 3.